Thinking about moving to the Philippines? Brace yourself. Life here isn't what you think. From hidden costs or culture shock, here are 10 harsh truths that you need to know before moving here to the Philippines. Are you ready for a dose of reality? Are you dreaming about moving to the Philippines? The tropical paradise awaits you. Before you do, I want to give you 10 harsh truths that you might have to face before you move here. When you move here to the Philippines, I don't want to come off negative, but I want to come off realistic. So you don't talk about the great things about the Philippines can offer you. Don't say no one told you. At least I told you, right? Number one, the cost of living. I'm going to give you a reality check, right? First, let's talk about the money, obviously. Yes, the Philippines is cheaper than the US. But before you make that jump, you might be shocked by the hidden cost of certain things. Rent may be lower, but you'll pay more for quality imported goods that you're used to in your home countries. You might be like, oh, wow, I love Nutella. Until it comes here, like, oh, shit. I hate Nutella, I don't know. And the prices of electronics. Forget it, there's no bargain. It is what it is. You save on certain things like labor, rent, and things like that. But if you want to keep the life that you left in America or whatever country you're in, there's really no bargain. It's pretty much, for me, toe-to-toe. Just prepare for the trade-offs. You're gonna have to pay for quality. But that's pretty much how it is in life at the end of the day. Number two, family expectations. As a Filipino American, you are just not a guest anymore. Family is everything here, but it's a double-edged sword sometimes. While you may dream about bonding with long-lost relatives, family obligations are deeply ingrained within the Filipino culture. Family will expect regular visits, participation in events for sure, and yes, sometimes financial support. So you are no longer a guest anymore. You technically might be thrown into having those family obligations as well. Sometimes, not all, obviously. Many families will, frown upon you if you don't help or, things like that. So, happens to me as well. What can you do? Number three, the language barriers. It's more than just Tagalog here, Especially for me, I'm from the Visayas area, so I speak Cebuano and Bisaya. Well, they're pretty much the same, little differences. Sure, you might know a bit of Tagalog, right? Maybe from the movies or maybe from your family. But if you plan on traveling like Siargao or in Visayan area or even down south, you're going to want to pick up on these other different languages. The Philippines, if you don't know, has over 175 dialects. These are languages that are somewhat very far different from each other. They might have similar words, but delivery, understanding is totally different. And some of them are like totally different, like Bisaya versus Tausug, or Mangindanawin versus some other language of the 175. So many regions don't speak Tagalog as their local language. Like myself, I can barely speak Tagalog. I can understand it better than I can speak it. So when you go to these areas, you might feel even more of a foreigner, but you can't really converse in local vernacular. But saying at minimum, hello, good morning, how are you, thank you, and how much is this, or where is this? Those are, for me, those are key things to ask and to kind of like familiarize yourself within that portion or that area, because at the end of the day, it kind of eases the tension to a great degree. Number four, social hierarchies. Respect is earned differently here in the Philippines. So in the Philippines, social hierarchy and respect take on different meanings here. Elders and authority figures are on the very high part of that, totem pole. They're giving high respect, expect formal expectations when speaking or engaging with them. Don't be surprised if people here don't challenge authority like you're used to in your home countries, where, you know, people just outright just disrespect their elders, people of you know, certain distinctions. Don't expect for people to readily do that here. So, to the Americans' point of view, especially for me, like, it seems as if they're ultra submissive here. So the family and the business hierarchy here will feel a lot different than what you're used to in your home countries. It might be a bit more intense, as in, like, there's like a hold on certain people. So just understand that when you come here, especially if you do business here. Number 5, the healthcare system. Just be prepared for a different system. Healthcare is vastly different here. While private healthcare is good, it's pricey, and the public healthcare might not meet your expectations. So make sure when you come here, you budget for health insurance and even consider medical evacuation insurance if you're used to a high standard of medical coverage. Number 6, Filipino hospitality versus Filipino time. Filipino hospitality is very real. Everyone is welcoming and social gatherings can become huge here. I recently went to a family reunion for my wife's. Only one portion of her family. There's like 300 people there. That's normal for many families here. But be ready for Filipino time. Punctuality, unfortunately, is not on the top of mind for many Filipinos. Meetings and gatherings, business or otherwise, many times do not start on time, which as an American is disrespectful. Especially me, I get really anal about those type of things. I get aggravated. So punctuality is more of a guideline than an actual rule. So if you're used to staying on a strict schedule, be prepared to be tested, because you're gonna have to do certain things to adjust certain things here. Like I said in previous videos, if you have an event at 3 o'clock, tell people it's at 2:30 or 2 o'clock, and they'll show up around 3 o'clock. Number 7, the culture shock. Even if you're a Filipino American, being Filipino American doesn't mean you'll avoid the culture shock. Depending on how many years you stayed in, you know, in another country. Me, I've stayed in New York for like gotta be at least 36 years. So understand, like, daily life here is a bit slower, more traditional, and religion, especially, is a bit more prevalent here. It's in front of mine in some places where, you know, you go to even like the big malls. There's a time throughout the day where everything stops, they do a quick prayer, and then they move on. Some people keep moving, some people stand still. Just be prepared for that. I was kind of like awkwardly like, what the hell's happening here? Why is everyone not moving? It's almost like I'm in like a time zone, like Twilight Zone thing, like why is everyone not moving type thing, you know? So be ready to embrace the Filipino culture, not so much a Filipino American culture, although America has had their hand in forming the culture here. Number 8, privacy. Many times you're living under a microscope. There's a reason why people are hard to have that word, chismosa. It's everybody's watching. You know, just understand this. Everybody's watching. Everybody's eavesdropping. Or many people are. People here, I could be very wrong. People here are very in that telenovela life. It's all about the drama. It's about what's going on with you. What's going on with this. What's going on with that. Privacy, it's different here. Be prepared for people to be curious about your life, your clothes, even your income here. And it's within the companies I work with and I work for and I conduct. There's a rule here where you, like in America, you don't discuss each other's income. Here, many companies, people are just there, which breeds a lot of toxicity and a lot of comparison, just bad. But it's normal here. So if you do business here, please expect things like that will happen. You may always feel like someone's watching you. And for many of the cases, that's what it is. People are always watching you. Me, I'm really aware of many of my, I'm just aware of my surroundings. While I'm looking at you, I'm looking at my peripherals. Even when I'm outside, people are always staring. Especially when this voice comes out of this face. So, as a Filipino American, please be prepared for that. Number 9, we're almost there. The traffic here. and transportation. Oh my goodness, it's controlled chaos. It is turning 3 lanes into 20 lanes. I'm exaggerating, of course, but literally 3 lanes into multiple lanes. Every little spot that's given, motorcycles are zipping through. Coming from New York, I get very aggravated, I'll be honest with you. My wife wants to record me one day of how many F-bombs, MF shits, and things I'll drop while I'm driving. It's unfortunate. So if you think like these East and West Coast traffic is bad, especially LA, oh my goodness, you haven't been to Manila. You haven't been to Cebu, so it's nuts. So traffic here can be, just like most congested cities, unpredictable and heavy. What would seem to be like a 5-minute ride might take 45 minutes. And I don't even want to talk about it. It's getting me aggravated right now. All I'm saying is, get used to the traffic and transportation here. And number 10, the unexpected upsides in connecting in the sense of belonging as a Filipino American. So finally, here's the best kept secret. There's something magical about reconnecting with your roots. And it's really weird, because when I'm around here, when I'm around family, when I'm around like settings, scenic outlooks and things like that, I get pretty emotional, because this is where my people come from. This is like, it can be my dad's hometown. Like, this is where my dad used to walk around. This is where my mom grew up. This is where like a lot of history is, my history. So it's magical for me, like understanding that, wow, this building is 300 years old. This building is 100-something years old, And the warmth of the people, once you get to know them, it's pretty magical. The people are smiling, and there's something to be said about when people, even facing hardships, adversities, they can still put a smile on their face and have a great conversation with you and act as if like nothing is wrong. And that's something that, for me, uplifts me many of my days, because when I get those days where I'm not cognizant of how grateful I should be, I see certain people that are nowhere near how I live and really below the poverty line, and they're just smiling as like they have like a $1 million smile. And that really touches me, because it's like, why the hell am I complaining? To be honest with you, this person obviously is not living nowhere near how I live, but they're still finding happiness in their setting, in their life, So, these connections I have with people, or the country, is for me well worth staying here. It's one of those whys of why I love staying here. So those are my 10 things that you should know as a Filipino American moving to the Philippines. It's a different world with its own unique challenges, but most importantly, its own unique joys. Are you ready for the adventure? If you are, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and if you like this video, watch this video. Take care, God bless, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.